Here I've got a compound path and I'm going to add a stroke. Let's make it a little thicker. And now I want to outline the stroke. And you see, that just doesn't happen. Hello and welcome to the Vector Garden. And in this video, we're going to talk about this issue, where it comes from, and why it's important, and what you need to do in order to prevent it. This is just one consequence of that issue that you can actually see in Illustrator. But other consequences might happen elsewhere. This is a logo, and logos are kind of special. Not special in the sense of, well, you're a designer and a logo is always something special, but special in the sense of a logo is pretty universal. So when you deliver a logo as a file to a client, then this logo might end up in software that you haven't even heard of. And compound paths and groups are constructions that are quite old, and during all that time that this software existed and Illustrator existed, every one of these softwares treats these objects kind of differently, and that leads to the issues. And this thing here is one of the reasons why those happen. So let's take a step back. These are the building blocks of that logo. So we have a text object here and we have some shapes here. And what usually happens is you select all these shapes and then you take the Pathfinder panel, and in the Pathfinder panel you unite them. And then you take the text and you outline that. So we go to create outlines, and then you select all of that and then you make a compound path just by going to Object, Compound Path, Make. And this is what we have, and then the thing happens. So let's just do it again. I'm going to apply a stroke, make it thicker just for the sake of being able to see it. And then let's go to Object, Path, and let's outline the stroke. And you see, nothing happens here. Now, if your goal is just to outline that stroke, then there's something simple that you can do, and we will talk about that at the end of the video. But let's first take a look at what's happened here. And in order to show that, what we're going to do is go to Object, Compound Path, Release. We're going to release the compound path like this, and then you see we've got these two things back, the one that I united with the Pathfinder and the outline text. Let's take a look at that in the Layers panel. So I'm going to select this, and you see it's a group. And this one is a group as well, because that's what you get when you outline text. You get groups. And when you now create the compound path, then the groups are inside of it. And that's the issue. So if there are groups inside of a compound path, then all kinds of bad things might happen inside of Illustrator, as we have seen with the outline stroke, and inside of other software like milling software, engraving software, that kind of stuff. What do we need to do in order to prevent this? Let's take a look at the simple thing. So when we have two objects and then unite them, then what Illustrator does is it makes a group. It doesn't create a compound path. Now we've got this group, and this also happens when you have more than two objects. So, and now you decide, well, I think I need a compound path for whatever I want to do, and this includes working with Pathfinders. So you go to Object, Compound Path, Make. So now we had a group and then we made a compound path. Now you see we now have got a compound path, and then let's release that. So let's go to Compound Path, Release, and you see the group is gone. So when there's just one group, not two, like in the first case, just one, and you make a compound path, then Illustrator is smart enough to get rid of the group and then make the compound path. that's okay. But if, like in this case, we have two groups, we have one group, this one here, because we used unite, and then we have the other group because we outlined the text, then Illustrator is not smart enough to do that. So if you have that case that you have two groups, then you need to first get rid of those groups. So ungroup all. So because we don't know how many, like this, we have the paths. And then we have this one, and also go to ungroup all, like this. And you see there we have them. And then we can take all of them and make the compound path. So these are all that just simple paths, and then we can make the compound path from them. And now they still have the stroke. So let's go to Object, Outline Stroke, and then you see that has worked. So that's the important part. If you want to make a compound path, make sure there are no groups. Let's get to the simple solution for the one case where you just want to actually outline the stroke. And the compound path actually is just there, and you have no plans of exporting that anywhere. So you just want to outline that stroke, and if that doesn't work, then what you can do is go to Object, Flatten Transparency, and then make sure that Convert All Strokes to Outlines is checked, and then go to OK. Just like this. And you see, this outlines the stroke. Flatten Transparency is a very destructive command. So if there's something else you want to keep, like actual transparency, for instance, and then that will be gone as well. But it's the easy way out of this problem. So I hope that this video helps you with this problem, and I hope you found it interesting enough for your nerdy curiosity, and see you for the next video.